There's one shoe that's managed to feel elegant, effortless, and indulgent all in one, the Gucci Mule. But what if we could get that same magic for only $12? I bought the best, most viral mules at every price point to actually put it to the test. The Mule started out hundreds of years ago as a slipper worn by royals and elegant women in their bedrooms. Soft, backless, and easy to slip on. Over time, it moved from private dressing rooms to city streets, turning into a symbol of effortless style. In the 1950s, Gucci gave the Mule its iconic twist with the gold horsebit detail, inspired by the brand's love of all things equestrian. Decades later, when Gucci added plush sherpa lining, the Mule became the perfect mix of cozy comfort and high-end polish. That is what we're testing today. I am very excited about this new series. I've been wanting to do this for a long time because I am my own critic most of the times when I'm in and out of stores, and today's video is going to really get at that with a price point from $1,200 all the way down to $12. So here's how I am judging and scoring each one of these shoes. How it looks, scale of 1 to 5, how it feels, how it's made, that's going to be the fabrication, the sole, the tread, scale of 1 to 5, and then how it's priced, the price point for the quality. I'm going to be scoring on the back end, but I will be sharing the final scores at the end of the video, so make sure you don't go anywhere and stay till the end so you can see who ultimately wins the ultimate Sherpa Mule test this season. Let's get started with the mothership of all Sherpa mules. This is the Gucci New Sole GG Mule. She comes in at $1,090, not including tax. So this mule has a beautiful thick padding, a suede upper. You can see obviously the gorgeous logo throughout. We've got the classic gold horsebit at the top. There is no smell to these, and I bring that up because I think smell is a really important thing when you take a shoe like this out of the box. I wanted to put a couple filters up for myself as I was judging each one of these shoes, and one of the things I thought about is, would you want to be stuck in an airport for 2 days in the Mules? I think that that's a really good measurement of success because that's a shoe that's going to have to keep you cool, keep you warm, keep you comfortable, make sure your foot's not aching. The way that it fits for being a size 41, which is what I normally wear, it is a little big. So I have to size down by, I would say, just half a size. The website actually says on Nordstrom to size up half a size. I actually would size down. However, the wider footbed makes this a dream when you slip your foot into it. It has the Sherpa lining all the way through. So I've zoomed in as best I can. It is super soft all the way in. It's easy to wear. There's no slippage at all when I'm walking. My foot is secure and she's going the distance in this shoe. I don't think we would be mad being stuck in an airport in these. I really don't. I think these are here for the long haul. The stitching and the quality is absolutely impeccable and it's cozy inside. I will say after wearing these for about an hour, your foot does start to hurt a little bit. And I have a feeling that's probably going to be the case with most mules. I don't think most mules are made for walking miles and miles. However, the durability, the sole grip, it sort of outlasts any foot pain you might have. It also might just be something you need to get used to in wearing these and really breaking them in. All in all, this is as classic Gucci heritage as we can get. Scoring wise, I mean, she gets a 5 out of 5 for how she looks and how she's made. They do lose points for the cost because I do think comfort should cost less. The second pair to compare is the Veronica Beard Phoenix Mule. This comes in at a whopping $425, okay, for this mule. So in every one of the mules we're testing today, I really wanted to bring a similar feel and aesthetic through. So with all of these, we've got a slip-on ease, we've got a durable sole, we have suede and or shearling or sherpa. And then of course, for the most case, I've tried to bring in the gold somewhere. Now Nordstrom is pushing these hard in their holiday catalog, gift list, marketing blitz. Okay, so I had to grab these because while they're still pretty pricey, $425, you get a couple points knocked off for that in my book. They're still cheaper than the Gucci's, right? We have the Sherpa, we have the real suede, and then of course you have this beautiful gold detail that goes all the way around the shoe. You also have a nice durable footbed here. Now my very first impression here with these shoes were two things. The first is the unbelievable toxic smell when you take it out of the box. Like so unacceptably toxic that I cannot believe they priced these at over $400. It was the worst smell. These have been out now for a couple weeks because of course I've been testing them. And if the smell was bad from here when I first took them out of the box, like it's aired out a bit, but if I sniff it, it's still smelling very toxic. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but it gets some points knocked for how it's made because I'm not very happy with that. Next up, you have the footbed. It's pretty sturdy, it's pretty durable. It's got Sherpa lining all the way through, which is an important thing we talk about. I think the whole point of spending money on something like this is you just have the softness that helps you stay happy in an airport for 2 days in these. However, the problem I have is the top of the footbed feels a little unfinished to the point that it's a little sharp when you wear it. So if any part of the edge of your heel is hitting any of this edge of the shoe, it is going to be a little bit painful, which again, couple points knocked off for that. The thing that I did like when you slip these on is the edges of the shoe are a little bit more flexible. So if you have a wider foot, I found that these were pretty comfortable. The tongue of the shoe lifts up a little bit and then the edges go out a little bit, and maybe you can see this in my B-roll as I'm trying these on, but it allowed for a little bit more flexibility depending on what size your foot is. I don't know how this is going to be though if your foot is pretty narrow, in the sense that it might be too wide here, your foot might actually slip out. However, if your foot is too wide, it's going to be hitting the edge and it's going to be hurting your heel, as I mentioned. So we have a little bit of a problem there. They're just not as plush as the Gucci's, or what I think we're going to be feeling coming into the next couple shoes. These are true to size. These are my true size 10. I will say when I walk in them, they do slip a little bit and they do make a noise, which I don't love. If you stay quiet and listen to my audio, you're going to be able to hear the noise that they're making. Not in love. Unfortunately, no 5 out of 5s for this one today. For $425, we're gonna have to see how they weigh in to number 3. Now, number 3 was a last-minute ad. As I was going through Nordstrom, before I decided on the final 6 pairs, I really wanted to see what I was maybe missing from all of my research. And I am so glad I went in store, because when I found this next pair, I thought, wow, these are actually maybe an even better comparison to the Gucci's than actually the Veronica Beards are. These are $325. So already we're coming in $100 less than the Veronica Beards. There is no smell. There's no toxicity here. We have an upper suede. We have a little bit of gold with Tory Burch's logo. And then we have the Sherpa inside. Now already the edges of these feel better, knowing that they're lined all the way through. They're a little bit softer, a little bit more cushioned than actually the Veronica Beard. It's 2 different types of fur. The shearling / Sherpa is different between both. You can sort of see that. But this Tory Burch lining is comparable to what we're seeing with the Gucci. They're very similar. It is very soft. It looks like it's more padded. These are more minimalist than the Veronica Beard. If we looked at those Veronica Beard in the mirror, it is a lot when you're looking at your foot. Like, you have to really like a lot on your foot. These feel much more minimalist. They feel like they're gonna go with more things. It's less of an eyesore when you look down. It's a little bit more of, a nice, clean, sleek, sharp look. You do need to be a Tory Burch fan to like these, and I realize a lot of people are not Tory Burch fans. However, these are a really close match to the Gucci's, with the exception of a couple things. Obviously, there's not a logo imprinted into the Mule. The logo's just on the gold. The other difference, though, is she didn't line the inside upper Mule portion. So the shearling is only on the footbed, it's not up above. And this was where the problem started for me and how they feel. I found that 100% these were going to require breaking in. I just really wish she would have lined this. I mean, it's just so uncomfortable. Like, this is rubbing and it's just not feeling good today. It's such a bummer. So if that doesn't bother you, that's great, but what a miss. She's gonna lose points on this. So I was curious, am I gonna have slippage when I'm walking in these? Because that's a big question when you're wearing mules. You do not want your foot slipping out of them. You want your foot to both be supported, but you want it to be able to like go the long distance, say in the airport for 2 days, or even 1 day, or even one flight, right? So with these, I sized down to a 9.5. They did fit much better, but then in testing them when I got home, my foot started slipping out. So I don't know. Then I was like, maybe I should go up to the 10. I think if you have a narrower foot, you're going to want to size down. If you have a wider foot, you're going to want to be true to size. Would I want this in an airport for 2 days? I can immediately tell you no way. I just don't like the combination of what could potentially happen between my foot sweat and the unlined suede upper. To be honest, I just really don't like buying this price of shoe and knowing I have to break it in. The jury will be out on that. However, this is one of the most feminine pairs that I think I picked up today. And I think overall, a 5 out of 5 for how classy, beautiful, and minimalist she looks. Okay, I'm coming for number 4. This is probably one of the most viral mules of the entire video. The Birkenstock Boston Teddy, coming in at $230. So this one weighs in similar price point as our last one. It has all of the things that we're asking for. It has the suede upper. It is lined in this gorgeous, of course, like Birkenstock does, this amazing, comfy shearling all the way through, including the upper part of the mule. It has this strong, classic, viral Birkenstock cork footbed. And then of course it has this added sole. So this is like full traction, go everywhere, cold, wet, winter, warm. This is definitely one that sells out pretty quick. Okay, so we have all of the bells and whistles here. Now, again, just like the Tory Burch, you're either a Birk person or you're not. I have to confess, I am not a Birkenstock fan. I do not wear Birkenstocks. I do not like them. Anything positive I do have to say here is going to be actually even more truthful. The biggest question I think is, does the hype match the fit and the feel? Most people online will tell you that she runs real small. So the sizing is an issue. It's a quality control thing, I think, when it comes to this shoe, because I find that other versions of Birk sometimes run too big. I sized my true to size. This is a 41. My foot is cozy and hugged. The reviews are very confusing, but I do think sometimes when it comes to sherpa or shearling, it adds and takes away from the size a little bit until you truly break them in. I find this with Uggs too. It takes a while for the inner lining to flatten a little bit, and as it flattens and your footbed sort of starts to mold, you realize that, you now are wearing the right size. You would want to be caught in an airport for 2 days wearing these. I think you'd be very happy because you're so supported. Wearing these shows me how bad the support is in the previous 3 versions of Mules that we just talked about. And I think this is just what most Birkenstock lovers would say makes this shoe. Now I will tell you, the edges are a little sharp, just like the Veronica Beard was, because it doesn't open like the Veronica Beard does. It stays closed here on the edges. You get a better, more comfortable experience when you're walking in these. Also, it is a hard base, all right? So anyone who wears Birkenstocks will tell you it takes a minute to really break these in, but once you break them in, they're yours forever, right? So it is a little bit of a harder base, but that shearling makes up for it. The big question will be, how do these measure up to the next ones? So we're working our way down the budget range to the Ugg Elia slip-on mules. These come in for $125. I think Selena Gomez put these on the map, actually. What is that beautiful quote that Coco Chanel always says, before you leave every day, look in the mirror and take one thing off. I feel like that sort of is these Uggs. They looked in the mirror and they took one thing off, at least compared to everything that we've already looked at. There is absolutely no gold on these. So these are as minimalist, as sleek as you can get for Ugg. My first impression is these are a little more feminine than maybe the Gucci, but they are less cool than the Veronica or the Tory Burches. They have that soft, light, easy, classic Ugg shearling slip-on. They have the suede upper, the sheepskin lining all the way through. So it is as cozy as can be, as only Ugg can do. And then of course they have the rubber outsoles. Again, I probably would not be wearing these in wet, rain, or snow because the sole is a little bit thinner. Now, in terms of the cozy factor and how they feel, they are so plush and they are so warm. So your foot definitely is going to stay very cozy. These do feel like they could probably be a little bit more of a slipper. However, this is what I love about the Mule, because we want something that feels like a slipper, but we can also take out to the grocery store if we had to. And I was actually really surprised. I was very impressed when I saw these on my feet. They felt minimalist and expensive. That's the best way I can put it. There's nothing fancy happening here, but they just looked so sleek in the mirror. The heel grip comfort all around, I am measuring at a 5. Do these slip off when I wear them? No, they don't. And that might be because of the sheepskin shearling, keeping my foot hugged and locked in. They slip on and they do not slip off. So once your foot's in, it's in. All in all, I'm very impressed. These are just everyday luxury that feels quietly expensive. We'll see how she holds up to the next one. So if you've been around my channel, you know I hunt for the best pieces at the best prices. And I told you I had 6 mules for this video, but I could not resist because I actually found 2 very budget-friendly dupes for everything that we've just seen, okay? So the first one comes in a little bit higher priced than my last one, and that is the Target A New Day. Now, this is actually looking a lot like the Veronica Beard, or if we want to get technical, this is definitely a Prada dupe. And I know we're comparing it, of course, to our Gucci, but it meets most of the qualifications. We have faux sherpa lined all the way through inside, including on the upper. We have a faux suede upper, and then of course we have a really nice footbed. I had very high hopes for these because not only are they beautiful, I actually like them already better in terms of how they look than the Veronica Beard. It looks better on the foot. Of course, we're winning. I mean, a 5 out of 5 on the price point. They are super soft and cozy. There is no smell. They are very warm. They're a little bit wider. Now, if we compare these to our more expensive versions already from this video, I can tell you the edging is 100% softer than the Veronica Beard version all the way through. It fits similarly. So the Veronica Beard, like we looked at, kind of has wings, right? That's sort of what it looks like. These do the exact same thing. So what happens when you slide your foot in is it just flexes with you. It's done its work already stretching. So it's not going to be hurting your foot or the side of your foot. It's going to move with whatever width your foot is. And then the edging on the side is already more comfortable. So whether it be real shearling or sherpa or faux, like this Target version, it's still super soft. And I think actually this one is more cushiony than the Veronica Beard. Can you believe that? Let's just pick her up. Let's see. The Veronica Beard being over $400, you can almost just see the footbed is carved out rounder and a little bit nicer here than it is here on the Veronica. The sole is the same exact width on both the Target and the Veronica Beard, where these feel maybe that they have a little bit more structure and hold to the sole of your foot. These unfortunately don't. And this is what the downside is on the Target version is they spent the money lining with the Sherpa, but they didn't spend the money inside the footbed. So when you're walking, it's not as comfortable on the bottom of your foot as some of our other versions are. I do wish they put a little bit of gold somewhere. Like I think if they put a little gold horse bit here, this could have been an A+ 100% 5-star. But all in all, I think she's a contender. Let's move on to the $12 find. Walmart has a lot of options right now when it comes to really good slip-on shearling or sherpa mules. I tested a lot of them. I think the function of most of these shoes is for style and comfort for the most part, somewhat warmth too, since we're looking at sherpa lined. The Mia 2 Mule came through, and I was actually really surprised this was the one that made it into the video. Out of all of the $12 to $15 Walmart dupes that I tested, I really wanted to try to get as many things as I could based on what our qualifications were for testing. Of course, we've got the dupe, gold horse bit. We've got really soft fur all the way through, fur lining all the way through. What this one is missing is the suede. However, it makes up for it with a really nice base that you can walk inside or outside with, and overall comfort. So the footbed is going to feel a little bit more like a slipper, but I will tell you, I have been wearing these in and out of the house for now over a week, and I am obsessed. I mean, really, when I look at the two options I have right here, these Mia 2s do look like they could be sitting as an alternative to the mothership over here. They are just a little bit more of a petite feminine option, I think, than these. Will these hold up in an airport for 2 days? Yes, I think you probably rather would have the Gucci's in all the circumstances, right? But when we're looking at $12, I was just so impressed. The one thing about these when it comes to feel is they are a little bit less supportive, okay? So this is just going to be almost like a slip-on slipper. You're not even really using the back of this. They did size these a little bit bigger than normal. So I tried the 9s and I tried the 10s. 10s are true to size. I was gonna go with the 9s, but my heel was coming right to the edge and I didn't like it sort of interfering with the back heel. So I went with the 10s ultimately on these. And like I've said, I've worn them to lunch, I've worn them to errands, I've worn them out and about. I've also worn them all day long, working and cooking around the house, and they're good. They're really good. I also like comparatively that they're a little bit lighter, so they're travel friendly and they're just easier on the foot. The point off here I'm taking on how they're made or how they feel is the lighter sole. I do wish there was a little bit of a heavier sole here. That would have been 1,000,000% a winner, maybe a little bit more structure on the edges. However, they were $12, so they get a 5 out of 5 for price. So again, we measured how it looks, we measured how it feels, we measured how it's made, and we measured how it's priced. And the number one winner with 17 points is the Birkenstock. She just absolutely came through. I think so many people out of everything that we tested are going to find that you get the price for the quality again and again. You get the sleekness and the simplicity with also the touch of beauty throughout. Across the board, Birk is the winner. But when we look at some of the other winners, in second place with a 16-point tie, we have the Tory Burch Mule and the Walmart, okay? Both gave incredible vibes. Both the look and the price, Walmart scored a 5 out of 5. I actually scored a 2 for how it's made. But overall, if you're looking for something super simple, super easy, and super cheap, you've got to try this, and it comes in multiple colors. In third place at a tie, scoring 15 points each, we've got the Ugg slip-on Elia. And then we've also got the Gucci. She lost a lot of points for how expensive she is. This is a $1,200 buy for the Gucci logo. It comes in with all the quality. This is what Santa Claus wants to wear to deliver all of his presents every year. I'm telling you, you are not gonna lose if you purchase the Gucci. However, it lost all of its points on the price. But with that, the Ugg tied at the same score, and I think it has everything you could possibly want. It's just a lot more minimalist, obviously. This has got the logo, this has got the gold, this has got the price. This really just has nothing. It's sleek, it's easy, it's minimalist. It lost some points for that. And then in fourth place for the very last, we've got the Target A New Day. All right, it's an easy buy. It might be worth a try, but overall, I think we've tested today a lot better options than that Target one. At the end of the day, no matter which one of these mules might be your favorite, feeling good is what's gonna make you look most expensive and keep you the happiest, especially at an airport trapped for 2 days. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.